Hi, and welcome to Getting Biblical, the show where I drink too much and talk about my favorite Bible stories. I am Matt Smith, your host, and thank you for joining us today. So, in today's episode, we're going to go over my top 5 favorite small passages taken out of context. Most of them are single verses, so my top 5 favorite verses. It's fun. They're not big enough to do whole stories on, most of them. So we're just combining them all and machine gunning through them today. I don't know, they're fun. They're kind of wild. So yeah. So let's talk about alcohol real quick. Let's get that out of the way. So today I picked up a special bottle. I bought one of these before and I liked it, so I went ahead and grabbed another one for tonight. It's called the Sexton is the name of it, and 13-year-old me is giggling, but it's called the Sexton. It's a single malt. It's an Irish whiskey. I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about it. I should have done some research into the title or into the company, I should say, who makes it. But it is a super, super cool bottle. All, black glass. The label's got like a skeleton with a top hat. So just like classy emo. Anyway, so if you're ever going to a party or something and want to bring something that maybe people haven't seen or heard or whatever, and trying to mix it up from just the usual, it's pretty cool. That's why I'm on my second bottle, like I said. So anyway, so that's the booze. Skeletons and top hats are always a win. So let's get into the Bible stuff, and we'll start off with number 5. This is Jesus and the fig tree. We go into the New Testament, of course, with this one, of course, Jesus. And if you're not super familiar, this is right after the Palm Sunday thing, where it's right before, it's coming up closely on the whole being nailed onto a cross thing. You may or may not have heard of. It's kind of like his thing. So it's right before that, and it's a weird. The whole story is kind of a weird roller coaster of like the people loved him, but the leaders hated him, and so he arrives in this town. And he comes in on a donkey, and people are laying down the palm fronds. I guess it's like the ancient Middle East whatever version of like the red carpet, right? You just lay down the palm fronds, and so he's on the donkey and he's walking over the palm fronds, and he's just a rock star greeting. And I don't know, God or Jesus isn't usually one to get like cocky or whatever, but I don't know if it went to his head just a smidge or something, or maybe he was exhausted from like healing people and blessing people all day. I don't know, but so it's found. The verse I'm talking about is found in the book of Mark, chapter 11. So just came into this whole city, had all the palm fronds down, and everyone's like kind of like fangirling over him, or I don't know what's popular right now. It was Justin Bieber a few years ago. I don't know if that still happens, or the whole I want to have your babies, like shouting from behind the lines. I don't know, but he's there, and I'll just kind of read the verse, and then we can talk about it. But so again, the book of Mark, chapter 11, starting in verse 13. This is after like it's all settled down, right? They had the whole day, everybody was excited to see him, and now we're like settling down a little bit at the end of the day. Like he doesn't still have the people all hooting and hollering and cheering, I don't believe. So again, verse 13, seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to it to find out if it had any fruit. When he reached it, he found nothing but leaves, because it was not the season of figs. Verse 14, then he said to the tree, may no one ever eat fruit from you again. And his disciples heard him say it. It cracks me up to think of Jesus he healed the blind, right? He healed lepers. He healing all these people. Stuff I'm not even ready to go into yet, like spoilers for future show. Like he did all this amazing stuff. Like he's the Son of God, but also like part God himself, which is way complicated to wrap your head around. Like he's all this, and he sees a fig tree. He's like, I'm down for some figs. I didn't even realize I wanted. I want some figs right now. And then you go over, and it's not fig season. Like it doesn't have any figs. That's not the tree's fault, right? It's just not time for figs. And he just gets pissed off. He's like, may no one ever eat figs from you again or eat fruit from you again. And just, I don't know exactly what the point of this story was in the whole flow of the Bible or the whole flow of the chapter. And it just makes me, I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like, it humanizes them a little bit. Like, I mean, because we've all done that. Like, you know, it's like you're on Sunday afternoon. You're like, you're on a road trip or whatever. Like, hey, let's, you know, we're traveling back home, and you're like, hey, let's get some food. Like, what would be great right now? Oh, Chick-fil-A would be amazing. Oh, it's Sunday. Damn it. And you're like, and then, you know, just going to the chick. May no one ever eat chicken from you again. Like, it's like, I don't know. Like, and we've all been there, right? Where you get excited for something and then it falls through. Like, I don't know. I just think it's funny. Then number 4 in my list. It's a little bit fast forward. It's actually just a few verses in the future or whatever. So that was chapter 11. This is chapter 14. So we're getting very, very close to the whole dying on the cross thing. He is with a group of his followers, the disciples, and everybody there, a whole group of people, and the leaders that want to kill him. They send a team out, a group to go arrest him, so that they can start the whole process of putting him on the cross and all that kind of stuff, right? So he's with a big group of people, and the guys come in, and there's, I'm sure we'll talk about it in depth at some point. There's like, and hopefully you'll forget by then the details of this, but like one guy like gets his ear cut off, and like it's a whole thing, right? So a big skirmish. Like his disciples aren't going down without a fight, so they're fighting back, and Jesus has to kind of like tell them to chill out a little bit. They had a long day, and it's midnight, and he's like exhausted, and the guys come to arrest him, and Jesus like very snarkily is like, oh, you saw me in the temple like yesterday and you didn't say anything, but now at midnight when no one else is looking, yeah, this is when you come. Like digs into him a little bit. And anyway, so this big fight breaks out. and people they're trying to arrest Jesus, and Jesus is kind of like, he's like, just let it happen, but the other people around him are like, no, fuck that, we're gonna fight back. And so they start going to blows. And then so chapter 14 verse 51 and 52, a young man was following him, meaning he was part of the entourage, right? It doesn't give the kid a name, but so the young man was with the group, wearing nothing but a linen sheet over his unclad body. And when they seized him, he pulled free of the linen sheet and escaped naked. Like, that's it. So like they were there to arrest Jesus, and this big fight went out, and this kid was running around with nothing but like a sheet on his body, listening to Jesus or whatever. And when they came to arrest him, they got in a big fight, and they tried to grab him just because he was there. And he's like, whoop, 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 whoop. And they just like, he leaves the linen cloth and just runs around naked and runs away. And that's the last they ever talk about him. Like, it is the most random, out of place verse in this whole, like, what? Like, like I just imagine, like, I don't know, like, I don't. It's hilarious to me. Like, it just, why was that included in here? Like, why did we need that? But you know, so that's the time that one of Jesus's followers just escaped getting arrested, I guess, by just derobing and running around naked. So anyway, so there's that. Now on to top 3, the top third one. We're gonna get a little spicy on this one. I love this one. So this is in Ezekiel 23, 19 and 20. And I'm not sure. You may or may not choose to like be inspired by this one and go and get a new tattoo with this verse on it. But it goes through, and I'm not quite sure if this whole passage is like prophetic or like an analogy or whatever, or if it's an actual true story. But it tells a story about these 2 sisters that had been brought in from Egypt or whatever, but they were living now among the Jews or whatever. And basically the whole passage is about how like they wouldn't give up their hoish ways, basically. And I guess they were prostitutes at one point, and they just really liked it. They were super into it. They were trying to make them wholesome women, and they weren't having it. Actually, I'm probably going to do a whole story on this in the future, but that's fine. And they're trying to, again, make them settle down. And so the passage goes, yet she increased her prostitution, remembering the days of her youth when she engaged in prostitution in the land of Egypt. And here's the good part. Here's the tattoo, the future tattoo. And she lusted after their genitals as large as those of donkeys, and their seminal emission was as strong as that of stallions. like what a great like all you on Pornhub, you definitely need to like start adding this in your comments. She lusted after their genitals as large as those of donkeys, and their seminal emission was as strong as that of stallions. Like what imagery right there. I mean with that, I mean genitals as those of donkeys and emissions like stallions. Like, I mean, who, like, can you blame her for her hoish ways? Like for sleeping around, their prostitution? I don't know. It sounds so dirty, right? So spicy. So definitely hit me up, and if you get that as a tattoo, I definitely need to know that. So one of the times that the Bible got really spicy on some stuff. So number two, Proverbs 27:14. This is a great one. This is actually super simple. Actually, it probably should be number 5 to be honest, but it's very simple. Proverbs, if you don't know, are that Proverbs and like Song of Solomon are like two like a lot of poetry and or poetic type writings. And anyway, so a lot of them aren't super like stories. It's just musings and writings and stuff. But this one actually I might get a tattoo of. I don't know, or at least a big poster like on my wall. But it said, so Proverbs 27:14. He who blesses his friend with a loud voice early in the morning, it will be reckoned a curse to him. And this is like, because I'm not a morning person. I'm definitely not a morning person, and I feel the same. This is probably the most, I think, accurate big feels, yo. Like this is he who blesses his friend with a loud voice early in the morning, it will be reckoned a curse to him. You could say the nicest whatever thing, but if I haven't had my coffee yet in the morning, you may as well be cursing me out. Like, it is not like that's just such a true statement. You know what? I take that back. It definitely is. It's number 2. I really like that one. He reckoned a curse to him. So we have a joke, my circles, my friends, of that I don't like mornings so much. So I'm actually a whole different person, and we've named him Morning Matt. And like my friends, like sometimes don't even text me before before noon or whatever. I'm grumpy. I don't like it. And so don't praise me with a loud voice early in the morning. It will be reckoned as a curse. So all right, Judges 3:19 through 25. And Ehud reached with his left hand, took the sword from his right thigh, and thrust it into his belly. Not his own. This is not like a suicide thing. He thrust it into some other guy's belly. And thrust it into his belly. And the hilt also went in after the blade, and the fat closed in over the blade, for he did not pull the sword out of his belly, and the dung came out. So this is an assassination story where he kills a guy, and the guy's so fat that like the blade, like his gut after he's stabbed, just covers the whole blade, the whole sword, and then as the guy's dying, he shits himself. It's just, I don't know, I love it, and I actually can't wait to. I think I actually have it. I wrote this list a little while ago when I was like planning my future episodes. After I wrote this list, I forgot about what I put on the list, and then I actually was planning to do the story of this assassination later. So that'll be fun. We'll give a little teaser, I guess, for that. And I bet you just can't wait to hear more about the story about the guy getting killed and shitting himself. It's actually fun. So those are my top 5. It's at least for today. It might change later, but the 5 I want to go over. So Jesus and the fig tree. May no one ever eat from your fruit again. Then Jesus gets arrested, and kid gets his clothes, his sheet that he was walking around in, torn off. And he runs around naked while Jesus is getting arrested. Don't talk early in the morning because we don't like it. And then, of course, genitals as large as donkeys, and semen emissions as strong as stallions. So those are your takeaways. I don't know. Hope you learned something today, or at least enjoyed it a little bit. No, I did. So again, thank you for joining us. Next time, what am I going to talk about next time? What do I have here? Did we do that one yet? Nope. We're going to do the talking donkey. The Talking Donkey. It's a fantastic story. So tune in next time to hear about that. And again, thank you for joining. It's a short episode today, but just leave the audience wanting more, right? And that always the was that in Seinfeld? Was that a thing? I can't remember. Anyway, I'm rambling now. The drinks are hitting. So have a great day. Cheers.